pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, all right. Before we start, I want to thank Logan Turley. He's going to be here tonight, and he's going to be recording our meeting. So again, thank you, Logan, for giving up your time tonight to record. Okay. Clerk will call the roll.
Gilbert.
Here.
Sarrar.
Here.
Kinrod.
Here.
Teresa.
Here.
Downey.
Here.
Hydrants. Here. Oswald. Here. 2. Here.
Okay, 8 present. With that, I would entertain a motion of the minutes of the previous meeting. Okay. Don't fight over it, okay? There's plenty of them to go around. Yeah, don't fight over it, it's okay, all right? Motion has been made by, has everyone looked at the minutes of the previous meeting? Everything's good, okay. Motion has been made by Alderman Downey, second by Alderman Toon, that we approve the minutes of the previous meeting. All those in favor say aye, those in favor say no, and the ayes have it. Okay, we will now go through the bills, and we'll start with, Joe, do you want to start out with everything?
Sure. Water fuel tax, $32,805.62. Street fund, $16,990.20. Water fund, $200,220.85.
Okay, thank you. Doug, how about you?
Lake is $4,912.35.
Okay. And you guys are in the red, or in the black,
Oh,
I'm
in the
sorry.
black, very
You're in
much
the
in the black
black,
this year.
big time, yeah, doing really well. Okay, Sarah?
General fund, $68,472.88. Infrastructure fund, $273,086.50.
Okay.
And
Tim?
I don't have those tax deals.
Oh, it's not there. Okay. Tim?
Fire expense was $7,125.27.
Okay, after you'll make it, can I entertain a motion?
Mayor, I would move that we approve the budget officer's report, treasurer's report, police and fire reports, bills, like ad hoc bills, and like watershed bills as presented.
Does anyone want to fight Joe for the second here? Okay, all right, Tim? Okay. Motion has been made by Alderman DeRiso, second by Alderman Coonrod, that we approve the budget officer's report, treasurer's report, police fire reports, and the bills, approval of bills, lake bills, lake ad hoc bills, and lake watershed. If there's no questions on these bills, then the clerk will call the roll.
Toon. Aye. Oswald. Aye. Hydrants. Downey.
Yes.
Teresa.
Aye.
Kinrod.
Aye.
Sarrar.
Aye.
Gilbert.
Aye.
Okay, motion has carried 8-0 with approval. Next will be the Carlinville Muni Band schedule. If everyone has had an opportunity to take a look at the Muni Band schedule, I will entertain a motion on that to go ahead and approve the schedule for the municipal band.
Motion to place on file and accept as presented.
Okay, motion has been made by Alderman DeRiso, second by Alderman Hydrant, that we go ahead and place this on file, the Carlinville municipal band schedule for 2017. All those in favor say aye, those opposed say no, and this will be placed on file. Next will be the Arbor Day proclamation. I will not go ahead and read all the way through this, however, April 28th is the Arbor Day celebration, And we will be, as I indicated before, we will be planting a white oak tree at the Carlinville High School at 1 o'clock on the 28th in honor of the, of Arbor Day. And all the students, are going to be getting a white oak sapling. And, if any of you would like to join us in that Arbor Day celebration, we'd love to have you. It's at 1 o'clock on the 28th. And I'll go ahead and sign this, after the meeting. And, we'll go ahead and, on the 28th, celebrate, the Arbor Day. So having said that, we'll go on to the Carlinville Post Prom, and they are requesting an extension for the curfew on May 6th through May 7th, for post-prom events. The event will start at 11 o'clock on Saturday the 6th and end at 4 a.m. on Sunday, May 7th. So just so we can take a look at this, will go on file. And then Snap Fitness as a 5K run. And that 5K run will be on June 24th at 8 a.m. And both the start and the finish will be at the hospital parking lot, and proceeds from this event will go to the Carlinville Food Pantry. So if I could entertain a motion to place all three of these on file, we can go ahead. Okay, is there a second? Okay, motion has been made by Alderman Hydrants, second by Alderman Downey, that we place the Arbor Day proclamation for 2017 on file, also the Carlinville Post Prom for 2017 on file, and the Snap Fitness 5K run in June, also on file. If there's no objections, I'll entertain a, we have the motion, can everyone say aye or nay or whatever?
Aye.
Aye, okay, perfect. All right, now we're at public comment. Is there any public comment? Yes, Cindy?
I just wanted to make a comment on the issue that came up last meeting about the water referendum, putting the water commission on a referendum, and I saw that it's under old business tonight. So, after the meeting last week, my comment is that I feel like a referendum makes this a political issue that we want a direct vote on from our citizens. And I don't think that it has to be that. And I would argue that they've already voted twice on this issue, because when I was on the council previously, we had public meetings, we had forums for people to come and see what we were looking at doing. We had a vote on the ballot about having a 1% tax, because we went to them and said we need money to solve this problem. And the citizens voted that yes, we did, and they wanted that problem solved. And then they voted for leaders that sit here in this room to solve problems such as infrastructure like water and sewer and streets and public safety. I mean, these are the basic functions of city government. So I feel that it is what the people want is water to come out of the tap and their leaders to lead and make decisions about those things. So I would just encourage you guys to think about the votes that have already happened in favor of solving our water problem. And perhaps, it's time to make a decision and follow it through, because there have been lots of decisions previously and lots of avenues explored. Those are all good things, but at some point, as leadership, a decision has to be made, and then there has to be follow through with that decision. So I would just encourage that to be thought about before any decisions are made on putting it on a referendum.
Okay, thank you, Cindy. Any other comments? Okay, all right, hearing none, we'll move on to old business. Budget ordinance.
This is an actual ordinance that's got attached, has attached to it the budget that everybody basically voted on and agreed to accept last council meeting. And it should be voted on tonight, and we don't need 2 readings when we're dealing with the budget ordinance.
Okay. Motion has been made by Alderman Farrar, second by Alderman Hydrants, that we go ahead and, pass the budget ordinance. And everybody has had an opportunity, it's in your packet to take a look at it. And if there's no other, comments, then the clerk will call the roll.
Downey,
Yes.
Philbrook,
Yeah.
Farrar,
Yes.
Toon. Yes. Oswald, Hager,
Yes.
Coonrod,
Yes.
Teresa.
Aye.
Okay, next on the agenda will be the hydrant replacement invoice. And,
That's right, Sarah.
and I was gonna say, Tim, you wanna go ahead and talk
Sure.
about this? This was in our, Public Works, meeting.
The 14 hydrants we had replaced, there's a invoice in here, in the packet, M&B, that shows what was originally presented. And if you look at the bottom of that, there was a possibility of either 7 4-inch valves that needed to be replaced or added, in this case, not replaced. Or a possibility of 8 6-inch valves in that process. Only because we couldn't find the valves, and until it was excavated, we didn't know they were there. So there were 8 valves inserted of the 6-inch easy valves. So the invoice that was originally, or the proposal was $69,720. Then the second page for M&B that shows a price of $49,255. That's the second payment. That they billed us for part of that. So long story short, the $69,720 work went to $96,000. And that was because there was 8 valves that was inserted with the new hydrants that we didn't have in place. Them 8 valves were put in places that the hydrants are gonna be used up around town, West Main. So while they were doing it, the work's done, but that was the proposal, if valves, because we didn't know if valves were there or not.
Well, that helps the fire department too, with the new valves.
And
That's
for
part of it.
hydrant maintenance, we can shut a valve off now. If a bonnet gets knocked off, if one gets hit by a vehicle, the hydrant can actually be fixed or replaced, which before, it would have never been able to be shut down. So, that's what that's for.
Okay, any questions?
Is the repair of all the hydrants, is that on the city then, like the settlement and all that, the reseeding and all that? Or is that any of this cost included, where they dug up and it's sunk in, and, or is that additional cost to the city, bringing dirt in and all that?
No, I mean, I don't understand what you're asking.
Well, like over on Chestnut Street, I mean, it caved in and the valve's in, and you've got plywood and a barricade over it, and the dirt's down about 15 inches from the road. So, I mean, who's gonna repair that? Is that the city's gonna come back and fill the dirt and all that? Is that part of their bid here? To bring it back the way it was?
If they're notified that they need to come back and do that, they'll come back and fix it.
Well, the city's put a barricade on it and plywood across the hose, so we know about it. I mean, are we not notifying them about it? We've put a piece of plywood over it, a big barricade over it.
Yeah, I have no idea what the proceedings are and why.
Well, I'm just,
If there's a problem there, but yeah, they'll come back and take care of it.
well, I was wondering,
Do they charge us? That's what the
No.
question is.
No.
no,
No,
I just wanna make sure that we've got
and
it
if
all
we,
taken care
if we
of.
would do something or have to do something or have to put some time in it, then they'd make it right with us. But no, if we notify them, they'll take care of it. There's no extra cost for that.
Tim, the reason I brought that up is the day that happened, some big truck came over and it actually took the valve and actually turned it like this. And you guys came down and put plywood and barricade over it. So I was worried that another vehicle's gonna come along and actually break that valve off, the turnoff valve for the hydrant.
I'll notify them tomorrow and let them know. There's
Okay.
no,
Okay, Jill?
I'm just guessing right now, Randy, nobody's told them,
Okay.
or said anything to them,
Okay.
but they'll take care of it.
Jim, since we had a pretty good rain, I think, what was it, early Sunday morning, why don't we drive all 14 and then get them back here in one whack in case we.
Sure. Absolutely. I'll let them know in the morning.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay. All right, yes, you'll make a
I
motion.
guess one last thing.
Okay,
The funds to take care of this is, I've sat down with Claudia and worked all that out, so there's plenty to take care of it, and it'll come out of capital expenditures.
got it, okay. And that would come out of this year's
Yes.
and not next year's?
Yes.
Okay, got it, okay. All right.
One more question,
Yeah.
then so the grand total now is 96,000, is that correct?
Yes.
Mayor, I would move that, we pay M&B Construction from Monticello, Missouri, the amount of $96,000, for the replacement, of the fire hydrants and the valves.
Okay, second. Okay, motion has been made by Alderman Teresa, second by Alderman Hyder, that we go ahead and pay M&B Construction Company $96,000 for the replacement of fire hydrants. Any questions on this motion? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Oswald, Sirrar,
Yes.
Coonrod,
Yes.
Philbrook,
Yes.
Teresa,
Aye.
Tune, Downey,
Yes.
Heidrich.
Okay, the motion is carried 8-0. Okay, next on the agenda is sidewalk bids.
Mayor, I make a motion for you to open and see what bids.
A motion has been made by Alderman Downey, second by Alderman Tune, that I go ahead and open up the sidewalk bids. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, I get to open the bids. This is so much fun. Waited all day for this. Okay, the first one is Quarton Construction, first bid, and his bid, okay, the unit price, the city of Carlinville agrees to pay contractor the contract unit price of $6 per square foot for 4-inch, $7 per square foot for 6-inch, and $120 for ADA specifications for handicap ramps per intersection. Okay. Okay, the next bid is from WWCS out of Cottage Hills, Illinois. And it's for a 4-inch thick sidewalk. Their price is $19.60 per square foot. For a 6-inch thick driveway and walks, $29.50 per square foot. Handicap ramp, $76.32 per square foot, and curb and gutter, $127.30 per lineal foot.
Does that price include the concrete?
Pardon?
Is that price including the concrete?
Didn't say, doesn't
Doesn't say.
say. I would imagine it just says sidewalk proposals, description and work provided by the city. And there's a clarification on work done on a straight time basis. They will pay prevailing wage, and there's exemptions, unforeseen conditions, engineering bonds, testing permits, plumbing, electrical, handling of hazardous materials, unsuitable soils, excessive dewatering, locating underground utilities not marked by Julie, taxes, hot or cold weather, concrete additives, yeah, it's our protective coverings. So it does.
That's wet supply.
Yeah, it does that. next one is from, Stutz Excavating out of Alton. And they have unit prices, I'll just read them here, there's quite a long list here of things, but 4-inch sidewalk removal and replacement, looks like $13 per square foot, and a 6-inch sidewalk drive removal and replacement with high-dot wire fabric is $16 per square foot. They did send a certificate of liability insurance, and, there's a list of things that they will supply. Okay, I would assume that we'll probably have Tim go through these.
Make a motion to go ahead and forward it to Tim for his recommendation of Public Works.
Okay, motion has been made by Alderman Downey, second by Alderman Hydrants, that these bids be, sent to our Public Works Director, Tim Azera, for him to go through and take a look at them. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no, and the ayes have it. Okay, the Carlinville Station IGA Amendment 2.
You have that, Carl? That was in everybody's packet.
I have it. I don't think you put it in.
I got one that I don't have.
No, she never had it. It was on the packet.
What I'm told that does by Phil Rogio is a short document, but I think it extends the deadline for the train station. And there may be some added costs, but the cost, the way it's been explained to me is that the city share will not increase. The city share is what it is, and that's it basically. But this is an amendment to our existing agreement, and Phil Rogio is our project manager says we need to pass this, and they're waiting for it up at IDOT.
The amendment, I have a breakdown of it here, it just came in this afternoon, around 2 o'clock. I'll read it to you. The project's total value has now been increased by $447,984 to $4,860,000. The city's total local match has remained the same at $58,198. As part of the match, IDOT has added a line item to account for in-kind contributions. And if anyone wants a copy of this, we'll get a copy for you. The IGA, which is amendment number 2, has also been extended by 62 days from June 30th to August 31st. If we could, he goes on to say, if we could go ahead and pass this tonight, that would be, they would be able to get everything in place for their bookkeeping, and it's an extension. So if anyone wants a copy, pass this around, and, or I'll give you a copy at the end of the meeting, it's up to you, okay? So if we could go ahead and agree to, signing on this, why, our amount doesn't change, so we're still at 58, which we've been for all along. Okay, motion? Okay, motion has been made by Alderman Sarar, second by Alderman DeRiso, that we go ahead and sign the amendment number 2 agreement with IDOT for the train station. Any questions on this? If not, clerk will,
I got it.
I do. Clerk will call roll.
Kunrat,
Yes.
Philbrook,
No.
Toon,
Aye.
Oswald,
Aye.
Haggard, Downey,
Yes.
Surratt,
Yes.
Okay,
Teresa.
Aye.
okay, motion is carried 7-1. Okay, all right, we'll go on to, Beth, you have a referendum issue on here?
I do, and I respect your comments, Cindy. However, I've had people approach me and ask when they're going to get a chance to vote on the water issue. If we go outside of furnishing our own water, the people that I've talked to really feel that they deserve a chance to have a voice in that. I don't see this any different than the referendum that we did for the the fire department or the vote, when we wanted to change to nonpartisan elections, we requested and gave the voters a chance and a right to voice their opinions. So with that said, I would like to make a motion that the city does not move forward with any kind of water commission or outside contracts that are going to end with the city buying water or getting water from any other source in our lakes. I just don't think that we need to move forward with anything until the people have a chance to voice their opinions.
I want to go ahead and answer that, okay? I respect your opinion, okay? There is a meeting set up for next week on the 26th. I know you have you checked with Brian and with Dick Monshall about bringing this to the floor? Because they're the chairs of the water commission, the water.
But this is the council that, like Cindy pointed out, has to make the decision.
I know, but we're not at that point yet, because I don't think Brian and the water commission have made that decision.
And I'm grateful for that, and I don't think that we need to make that decision for the people. I think the people need to make that decision for us. And that's why I want the motion to be that if, I don't want to move forward with a water commission that would take away the city's ability to make their own water and supply water for the city without the people voting on it.
Okay.
If you did a referendum, when would it be?
I couldn't even tell you when the next election.
Well, we got 2 years.
No.
We can't wait 2 years.
Can I go? I was going to say this anyway before Cindy made her comment. When it was brought up at the last city council meeting, I was kind of stunned that that was even brought up. To me, this is the reason why there are elected officials. You are the ones who have to make the hard decisions. That's why you've been elected. The few times that we've had meetings about water in this town, there've been a handful of people that show up. This town, they're not, you may get another handful of people that show up to vote and to listen to it, but you are not gonna get people in this town to come to a meeting and listen to all the ins and outs and rights and wrongs and
That's right.
this
That's why
and
we
that.
have to.
Excuse me, I'm
sorry.
talking. And asking about all of the, all the questions that they need to know to make this decision. To me, this is, and if they go to vote, it's gonna be eeny, meeny, miny, moe. They're just gonna be, oh, that's the person, let's vote. This is why you're elected. This is your decision to make and to listen to all, and to go to all the meetings, and I just don't see, and we can't wait 2 years. We can't wait for another referendum. This is, and I know that you know that, we can't wait that long. This has to be made, this decision has to be made. We can't wait for meetings to be set up and the community to come and then maybe have another meeting, and I feel like this is totally a council decision. That's why you were elected. You're here to make the tough decisions.
By the way, we're not the only community that is waiting for a decision, okay? There are other communities that are waiting for us, Carlinville, to make that decision to form a commission, okay, for water. So when we delay this, we're not only just delaying it for Carlinville, we're delaying it for a number of other people out here that are paying some very expensive, some very high rates for water right now. And they want to, their water, or their town wants to go into this commission form. Also, funding becomes an issue. USDA has given us a go-ahead to start the process. They're not going to hold that money forever for us. You know how that is, okay? So waiting 2 years for this, or waiting 7 or 8 or 9 months is really asking a lot of not only Carlinville, but a lot for these other people. So I really don't see how we can delay this. Yes.
I just wanna make one comment. I think there are citizen members of the water committee also, who give their input about these things as well. And I think it's kind of a slap in the face to the people who have been doing this for 6 years now on this committee, trying to help solve this problem. And I also I can't help but feel, with all due respect, that this is kind of an attempt to tie the hands of the incoming council for 2 years. And I would like to see this problem get solved. I think that's our job. So I would just prefer that you guys think about not moving forward with something that's gonna tie everybody's hands for 2 years.
Brian, we have a meeting set up. It's a, informational Q&A for the 26th of April. Am I correct?
That's correct.
At 6 o'clock here at City Hall.
Yeah, if I could.
Yes, you could go ahead. And am I not mistaken, you were not aware of this?
Tonight? No, I was not, but that's neither here nor there. Just to cover a couple points real quick, 2 things. First off, this is not a simple question of do we get water from our lakes or we get water from someplace else. This situation is much, much more complicated than that. And I would be tickled to death if everybody in town came and got a much more educated view of what was going on. But from the turnout we've had so far, most people in town don't have the slightest concept of what the 2 options are we're really looking at as far as detail. The other thing would be, right now, I'm not asking for a vote to join this commission. I'm asking for a vote to be willing to move forward with getting this commission off the ground so we can get more specific information from this co-op. And I don't know where the concept keeps coming in that we're buying water from somebody else. We'll be part of an organization that's buying water. We're gonna buy it, everybody else is gonna buy it, we're selling it to ourselves. But right now, all I need is a commitment that says we're gonna move forward so that I can go through and get you more specific. Because right now, to be honest, I couldn't tell anybody the right way to vote because I don't have enough specific information that I cannot get until we at least get the initial forms going on this commission to compare it to other options. So that's all the commission's really, or all the committee's really been looking for, is the right to move forward, to get more information, so that when it comes down to it, either the council or the city, whoever ends up doing it, can have an educated vote. Right now, we can't do that. I can't offer that to anybody.
Okay, Randy?
Brian, my question to you would be, and what I'm afraid of, it's just that you were on council when the train station came through, right?
Yeah.
Okay? Once that packet got sent up to the federal government, got approved, time it got back to this council, 90% of the bid packet, all of it was all done. The government said, okay, here's the money. I'm afraid if we move forward with the Water Commission, they'll do the same thing with that. The federal government, we're asking them to do a lot of money, work, study, and everything, and get that all done. Then we come back and say, well, that's gonna cost our people $7 per 1,000 gallons. We don't wanna do it now.
Okay.
So it's a lot of waste of time. I don't wanna be locked in to the government saying, oh, well, we've already put $3 million into this project and you're backing out of it.
Which we have every right to do.
Yeah, I know, but that's a waste of, I mean, I'd much rather us as a collective bargaining say, you know, because there's basically just like when you get a car loan and you buy a house. I mean, you don't sign the paperwork first, you research it, can you get the money and all that. And that's what Max has done for us. Max has basically looked at the history and said, based on a 40-year loan, this is what your rate would be, $4.08 per 1,000 gallons. Okay, or $2.75 if we can get the $42 million from the federal government.
Okay.
Okay, now, there's a lot of the questions in that, you know, the base, what's the base rate? Come find out Jerseyville's paying $46 to $48 for base rate. Okay, we're paying $17.20. We're only $3.83, so I mean, we gotta get everything on the same level as far as what our dollars are, when we're looking at everything. I just don't wanna lock us in to the Water Commission. Let's look at all the resources locally before we say that's the packet. Because once we send that off to the government, you guys pretty much have inked it. That's the deal. Otherwise, you're wasting, you know, we're $19 trillion in debt right now. When governments, even our little things and stuff like the government, they're spending the money. Okay, and we just don't want to just keep wasting our national resources of money. I mean.
Oh, I'd agree with that, but you brought up 2 really interesting points. There are certain facts and figures and specifics I can't get until we agree to be at least part of the commission to get off the ground. That's all I'm asking for.
But he gave us that. Max,
no, he didn't. He gave us estimates based on what might happen. Those are not locked in. Those are based on what the engineers say we can work with right now. But those are not specific because because I can't get specifics unless I'm a member of the commission to go to ask.
But-
Because that entity has to be the one that gets that information.
But
We
in the-
can't.
In this thing going to the government though, they're looking at all the easement rights and all that, Brian. I mean, you know,
Yeah,
how much
they
it's
are.
actually gonna cost. I mean, they're laying out the line and all. That's a lot of work to put the government through, then we come back and say, well, man, we can't afford it.
Okay, well, let's assume we don't do that. How are you gonna get those numbers if you don't do that?
Well, I'll just say,
If
I'm
you want
saying,
accurate numbers to present to the people to vote on, whether it's those people or the city, you have to have those numbers. I can't get you those numbers until we agree to be part of the commission and we go out and ask for them. That will not happen.
that's true. But
And
if
that's
you-
it.
But if you look at your other water option, that we're purchasing water from Litchfield until we would actually repair our lake, we can get hard numbers there.
Really? You got hard numbers that says at some
We
point
can
that
get
lake's
hard
gonna-
numbers. We had a meeting February 28th.
I-
We've yet to have a meeting yet on this with Litchfield.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I wish we would do.
Okay,
It's a total problem.
Tim's got the next, Tim,
Yep.
you wanna, Tim and Sarah, you wanna
I'll
address
pass
this?
on mine.
Good.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
Well, first off, there's no such thing as a packet of no kind. It's far from a packet, and what everybody needs to understand is, if you're part of a regional group, which is not a water commission, by the way, that means you're a part of it, you're an entity, you're at 25%, 33.3%, whatever it may be, okay? Carlinville's rates may stay at $17. Jerseyville's may stay at 40 for base rates. It's not across the board. The cost per thousand is passed on to each individual community to pay back. The water commission is the one that will incur the debt, not the city of Carlinville, not Jerseyville. It's the entity once it's formed. There will be no $3 million debt for Carlinville for this, and throughout the course of every meeting, that's been told. So, I don't know who's listening, who's not listening, but that's probably a good example why we need another informational meeting. So, there's a lot of misconceptions out here all over everywhere, and I think there's about 1/10 of the people that understand it.
Okay, Julie?
I think this is a perfect example of exactly, we have two people or a handful of people here that already don't, you know, you're looking at two different viewpoints, and you throw the city in, which there again, I think the city is going to be a handful of people. This is too much for the people to understand. It is this group, this elected official group that needs to go to the meetings, that need to understand it. If you have to study day in and day night, that's what you have to do because it's your job. It is not the citizens of Carlinville. That's why you're here. You have two people here that don't know it, and you expect the town to understand what's going on and to come to a reasonable decision. I just don't see it happening. This is why you're here. You make the decisions. The city can't, the town doesn't wanna make this decision. They don't know, and they're not gonna take the time to understand.
All of you have had your big books, you've all looked at them and whatever, okay? So you're pretty much in the know in terms of where you should be if you've looked at your books and whatever. Yes, Beth?
I just do want to point out that Max made the comment when he was here a couple meetings ago, when we were discussing the Litchfield situation, that he really didn't pursue that because he was directed to pursue the regional water idea, the water commission. So I don't feel that enough interest has been spent looking at our other options. And my fear is that we move forward with this regional water commission because that's what's been studied, that's what's been talked about, that's what's been done. And I don't sell the people of Carlinville short in getting involved in knowing what is right and what is best for Carlinville when it comes time to looking at these big issues. We asked the voters to tell us, we gave them the respect to tell us, do you want to eliminate partisan elections? why would we not give them the same respect to look at this issue, learn about it, talk about it with members of the council, and then vote on it?
How long, okay, go ahead.
Well, I'm just gonna say partisan elections is a yes and no answer. Yes and no. Do you want partisan elections, yes or no? This is not yes and no. And I feel again that your citizens, like they should do in every situation that comes across in the city, if they have a concern, if they have opinion, they should go to you.
And they have been.
Exactly. And then that is how you should vote. That is how you should vote, not the town. That is how you, their alderman, should vote, not the town. Partisan election is yes or no. Do you want it or no? This is a totally different subject, way too complicated.
Cindy?
I think it's one thing to ask the citizens how they want, what's the method you wanna use to elect your representatives. It is a completely separate issue to ask them, do you want us to do our basic function, which is make decisions about the structure and how we do our, how we provide those things that we said we were gonna provide by tax. I think that's a completely different issue. I don't see those as comparable at all.
Bob, you had your hand up?
Well, go back to what Brian said earlier too, about having these public meetings. I've been the chair of the Lake Ad Hoc Committee since 2012.
Right.
And we've had public comment on there for 60 meetings
Right.
now, and there's never had one person come in, and that's where we talk about the lake and we cover the issues and continue to move forward. But in the end, people just want water coming out of their tap.
And it's picked up by the paper. The paper's always here to report on it. So if they read that, or I know WSMI always reports on our council meetings, so there's another opportunity for our citizens to make a comment if they want to. Okay,
My question is, I have people who have heard about the Litchfield option. They're coming to me and asking me, what are you hearing about the Litchfield option? My answer is, we're not investigating it. We're supposed to be having a meeting, and I've heard nothing. I don't know. They want to know, the people do want to know what's going on. They may not be educated about it, but it's our job. That's why we were elected, to educate them about it. I can't educate them because I don't have the answers. And we asked to meet with them. It hasn't happened.
okay, any other questions?
Mayor, just as a side note, and no disrespect to anybody out in the audience, but I believe this discussion here should remain amongst the city council. I know we've already had the ability for public comment. Again, no respect to anybody out there, but I just don't want to make this a prevalent.
Well, we do have a meeting scheduled for next Wednesday, the 26th. It's a informational Q&A, open to the public. And anyone that would like to come, we certainly invite everyone to be here. I think that's a good opportunity for individuals to ask their questions. Yes, Chris?
Is Litchfield gonna be invited?
They can be.
It can be, or we bring them over? I thought that's what we were gonna do, was invite Litchfield and.
That's fine.
Just get all the information we can get. Oh, sorry.
Right.
I don't know, I know that buying water from Litchfield has been on the table for quite a while. There has been a lot of individuals that have indicated that they're not interested in doing that, and some of our major suppliers, our users, have indicated that.
I deal with one that's interested in that.
I'm not,
Oh, yes.
well, he said
Straight
in my
from the
office
CEO
last week.
Straight from the CEO.
Well, they said in my office last week, and that's not what they told me.
That wasn't the CEO. It was the plant
That's
manager.
interesting.
It was the plant manager.
Yeah, okay. Beth, are you still, you wanna make a motion, you're still with your motion?
And
Okay, is there a second? Second, motion has been made by, Alderman Toon, second by Alderman Hydrants, that we, not pursue the Regional Water Commission. Any other questions on this
Before the passing of
Until-
the referendum.
yes, thank you.
before we have a referendum? Okay, got it. All right.
Now, just a question, is that on any water option, or is that?
No, it's the regional commission idea. Anything that will, the end result will be other than Carlinville providing water to its citizens from our lakes.
Okay, Sarah?
My only question is, I think if you wanna do a referendum, you should know when it would be. Do you know when it would be?
At the next elections.
But when is
Yes,
that?
2 years.
When exactly is that due? Is that in November? I mean, I think if we're gonna vote on something, and we're gonna put a referendum on something, we should at least know the state of what we're putting it on. And I don't think we know that.
The next city election.
It's 2019.
19.
2019, I think.
There could be 10 other options, but you're only shutting out the commission. I don't understand that. Why, what's the reason?
You know, my biggest reason is the fact that Max said he was directed to move forward with the water commission, with the regional plan. He did say that here at one of our council meetings.
Initially.
No.
And then I think they talked about Litchfield, didn't they, Brian?
No,
No.
no, Max said he was directed to look at the regional water commission concept. When Randy or George, I don't remember, brought up that there's a possibility that Litchfield could provide us water on a temporary basis until we get our lakes fixed, then we could switch back to our lake. Max said, well, I never pursued that because I was directed to go with the commission.
Okay, Tim, you wanna address that?
I will.
Okay,
That's an absolute false statement, because one of the first things that was done was looked at Otter Lake and Litchfield, and there was some issues with both. Then were laid out on the table when the commission or the water entity study group was put together. And out of the 3 or 4 options that is, everybody's had a chance to look at and study, that was one of the first ones that was looked at. Because of the price of what Carlinville would have to put into their infrastructure and the payback, that it didn't look like it was a beneficial thing. So when it was all rolled out and it was presented right here in this room, that Otter Lake, and there were some issues, and Litchfield, I believe at that point, it said, it looks like it would be better to pursue this option. Not that it wasn't looked at, not that it wasn't thought about, not that it wasn't studied, because it has been. Now, if you wanna go back and revisit it, go back and revisit it. It seems like some things may have changed. Who knows? I don't know. But it sounds like Litchfield's interested in wanting to sell water to Carlinville, and it sounds like, some others from here may be interested in purchasing from Litchfield. So, but just to make it clear, it was looked at. It was looked at first, and the first 3 things that was brought up, and it was laid out in this room. So
if
I
we're
wanna,
gonna buy
I wanna
water
make
from
sure that
Litchfield,
that's,
we need a referendum too, or you're just dealing with the commission? That don't make,
Yeah, Litchfield's a temporary solution.
well, that's like you're shutting out one of the options, Beth. Whatever, vote on it. You gotta-
Joe?
No, sorry.
No? Okay.
Well,
Randy?
I'd just like to make comments, but Tim said, what I heard from Max in that meeting was that the reason Litchfield was not looked at as a viable option was Carnival did not want to give up ownership of the water facility. And Jersey was only interested in selling the water. And so they was not looking at any co-op deal there to go with.
Jerseyville's not selling water to nobody.
They're not selling water.
No, I know, and what he said, so they looked at Litchfield, they were not interested in co-op, they went to Otter, they weren't interested in buying in. We looked at going over to Carrollton, doing our own facility for $39 million, and then we decided, Jerseyville's interested, so we went down to Jerseyville and started looking at this regional concept. And that's how Max kind of explained it to us, that's how he got where he got down by Jerseyville. It was $39 million going by Elder. Originally using Carnival, just putting their own water plant over there. Okay, then found out Jerseyville might be interested, and so then the wells went down. It's the same Alua well from Grafton, or by Elford, all the way down to Grafton.
Yes, Joe?
I would, when it comes time, I'd like to have the motion restated before we vote.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, Beth, would you like to restate your motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion that before we commit to a regional water commission, we put it before the voters for a referendum.
Okay, is there a second?
Kim.
Kim, you're a second on that? Okay, there's a motion on the floor that before we go to our water commission, that we have the referendum put before the voters.
And that's 2 years away.
2 years.
Whatever it is, leave that, just.
Okay, clerk will call the roll.
Teresa?
Nope.
Philbrook?
Yes.
Sarar?
Yes.
Oswald?
No.
Tune?
Aye.
Heger?
Yes.
Downey?
No.
Coonrod?
No.
We have a tie.
We have a tie, and I will be voting no. Okay, we will be going to the next on the agenda. So Beth, it's you, FOIA.
Well, actually, the FOIA and the nonprofit were supposed to be together. That's okay, I'm sure it wasn't real clear when I called you on that. What I had wanted to do was make a motion that we view all nonprofit organizations as non-commercial organizations in respect to the FOIAs. However, it was pointed out to me that that's the law already. I mean, that is the way it's supposed to be. So, what this is gonna turn into is a question about where we are with that FOIA request that we voted on at our last meeting to give the information, to turn over the information to John Kraft.
It was all turned over, right, Carla?
We could go Friday,
Yeah,
It all went.
It went Friday.
yeah.
not this
Mail?
last Friday.
And folks, I got one other comment, I got a comment. Anyway, it went, Beth. Beth,
Wait a second,
it all went.
in the mail.
Yeah.
He's not received it. He called me today. Not that I know this gentleman, but he called you.
It went.
He did, because he said, should I call Joe and Sarah and Doug?
Did you mail it, Carla?
Started talking. I said, you can call anybody you want.
He mailed it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sure he mailed it, because I talked to him too,
Yeah.
and told him to get it out.
Yes.
Well, good then, that's good.
Now-
It was on a CD. I don't know if it was all burnt in a CD because there were 600 and some odd pages on just one document that was all burnt to a
You
CD.
tell him it is
So,
on
those
its
weren't
way,
copied.
it was sent out.
Somehow.
We could go Friday, I think, right?
Yeah.
We could go Friday, right after our meeting on Monday. It was sent out on Friday.
That's good news then.
Well, yes, and for those that thought that it wasn't, because there have been some comments on Facebook that has not been sent out, and I wanna correct that, because it has been. It was sent out on Friday after our meeting on Monday.
Carla gave the stuff, I told him when the council voted, it's to go out last week. I'm assuming it did, I didn't mail it, but I'm assuming it went out.
I asked
And it
him.
went out, it'll get there. Today's Monday, well, you gotta get it,
No, it's a week ago.
No, it should have been
A
a
week
week
ago.
It went a week ago Friday.
It went right after
Not
our
Good Friday.
Well,
It
if
went
it's-
a week
it
prior to
went.
that.
and if he doesn't get it, then we have to run it down and get it to him again, okay? Now, in the meantime,
Tell him to
folks,
call Carla.
What?
no, in the meantime,
Call him and tell him to call Carla.
since then, Carla has gotten 3 or 4 other FOIA requests.
6.
6.
Six?
Now,
Oh, yeah,
oh yeah,
thanks. Yeah.
somebody started this stuff by calling the watchdog group. Somebody started it, folks. They didn't come in here on their own. And all I want to point out, and this is all freedom of information. They've got the right to this, but it's, what all do they want, Carla? Give them, I want to spell it out. Tell them what they're asking for.
They want all the elected officials' water bills, copies of their water bills. They want,
For what period?
Oh,
for
it's
the
not
last,
funny.
for the last, 2016, for all last year.
Yeah.
They want, they want TIF information, they want, information on revolving loans. A couple of them want, no.
No, but they want it.
They
It's-
want it.
A couple
they
of
want
them
it.
want, a couple of different ones want the exact same information that John Kraft, wanted. But they're
And what I'm
mixed up.
trying to say
They're different.
is, somebody started this stuff, and the thing of it is, it takes her hours to get all this together, and somebody's gotta pay either Dan Shearing or myself to get all this together, and you talk about spending money on what started, it's ridiculous, because the stuff that's being asked for, there's nothing, it's clean, it's all there, I don't know what they're looking for. But it's, we gotta supply it. So,
And it's
whoever started all
ours.
this stuff, you talk about spending money, the city's gonna be spending some money. We've got, how many pending FOIA requests?
6 right now.
6 pending ones,
Since Friday, I've got
since
6.
Friday. And we'll answer.
And,
Who all are they from?
well, a couple are from like, concernedcitizen@yahoo.com. I think, they start these and then there are other groups maybe that jump on the bandwagon
Okay.
too, and they're requesting the same thing, or some of them are not John Kraft has requested, like I said, copies of all of our water bills. I don't have copies of all of your water bills, but I have a report for every one of you that will be going to him
And he'll get-
with your water bill,
With your water bill.
with your water bills.
I'm
I
sorry,
can-
but
I don't
do
know.
they have to give you a name, a person's name to get this? You said concerned.
All elected officials.
All
The city of-
elected
No, I
officials.
mean, it said concerned citizen. and-
We're
Oh,
looking
no,
into
that
that.
They
email
have to
just,
give you a
It's
real
just an
name,
email,
right?
so,
It's just
but
an
the
email.
rest of them's all got a name, so they've gotta be complied
I
with.
just don't understand what they think a water bill.
Well,
Well.
yeah, that's what we're asking. So anyway, I mean, somebody is trying to harass the heck out of Carlinville now, because of all this that got started way back when, so enjoy.
Look at me all you want.
Well, we're going.
She asked me who the contract was. She did not know.
Forget it.
Forget it, forget it, let's move on,
We'll spend hours answering.
let's go on. Are there any other questions with FOIA? Okay, let's go down to new business, nonprofit, Beth, did you answer that one already?
That was to be with the FOIA.
Okay, all right, Bob? You're
How's
up.
it going? Got a
Hey, I'm
few,
gonna, we're gonna FOIA, right?
I got some BMPs to be built on City of Carlinville property. One would be up by the Gilmore Cove, set of rock riffles, and that up there. One would be butting up with the city property that butts up to the Joyner property and some of the coal mine property, which we've been waiting on a flood easement on because we were temporarily backwater up on them, which we have all that in line. And the last one would be the city and Hammond structure, and we talked about these at Lake Ad Hoc committee meeting the other night. It'd be basically, so it'd be city projects. I guess I'm asking for a request to put it out in the paper to collect bids and everything, have bid packets up here for anybody and everybody that wants to come get them.
So, you're making a motion to go ahead and put bid packets? up
Well,
here?
one of you guys are gonna have to make the motion, but
He's asking for it.
yeah, if I can, that's
But
what I
that's
would
what your
like.
motion is?
Yeah.
Okay, so, yes.
Well, I'd like to make a motion, didn't Ken Reed, didn't he take over one of those properties?
That's a city Hammond, well, city Reed, I guess it is now. I was
Right,
calling it the
just wanted-
Hammond.
Right, because I know
'cause it
Ken
was-
said something about.
Yeah, it was Josephine
Any
Hammond,
comment?
prior, so
I
yeah, it
make a
is
motion
Reed's.
to the BMPs.
Okay, motion made, has been made by Alderman Bill Brooks, second by Alderman, Hydrants. Yes,
Question.
Claudia?
So is this still under the 319?
Correct.
grant?
Yeah,
Okay, because are you aware we've had no money come in from that?
they still haven't got the second reimbursement. I submitted that back in January,
Okay.
so I can go back.
As of Saturday, when I was in here working, there was still no money had come.
Well, I'll check again, cause I just looked at that email from, Jan Carpenter, which oversees our
Okay.
grant,
All
and we
right.
submitted it all, so. That
And,
was January 17th, I believe, is what I
and we
submitted.
have an ending deadline on this,
It's in July.
July, okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, the motion is, we'll go ahead, Claudia, you're fine with, we'll go ahead and do it? Okay. Motion has been made by Alderman Philbrook, second by Alderman Hydrants, that we go ahead and, have bid packets available for the city BMP, proposal.
And to put it in the newspaper as well.
And to also have, to put it in the newspaper. Any questions on this? Clerk can call the roll.
Philbrook,
Aye.
Sarar,
Aye.
Coonrod,
Aye.
Teresa,
Aye.
Downey,
Yes.
Hager,
Aye.
Oswald, Toon.
Aye.
Motion is carried 8-0.
Thank you.
Bob, zoning, report, Steve?
Yes, we have two this evening. First one, Carlinville Planning and Zoning Commission on April 5th considered request to replat lots 3 and 4, block 13, Edward McPhee and Smith McPhee's addition, and of lots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11, 12, and 13, block 1, Beacon First Edition, all in Carlinville. Request was found to be in compliance with Carlinville City Code, Chapter 34, Article 4, Section 34-4-1B. Commission voted 7-0 to approve the final plat.
Okay.
First advisory report.
That's the advisory report to the council, and I did up an ordinance, this is on the bid plat, right? Is that what you just told me? I did up an ordinance to approve the plat, but somehow it did not get put on the agenda, so we can't vote on it tonight. And I think Carl Nail is here to explain that plat, or to the city, and I told him to leave everything, and we'll put it on the agenda for next meeting, and eventually pass it and sign the plat.
Thanks, Carl, for waiting.
Oh, no problem.
Thank you.
So in your guys' packet, there was a, reduced, okay. So what the Bentley's Corporation has going on out there on the west side is they own 11 lots in 2 different subdivisions, and to simplify everything with what they're doing out there with the new office and the new convenience store, it's gonna be platted into just 3 lots with 1 new subdivision name, real simple. So if this gets approved, this final plat gets approved, it'll be lots 1, 2, and 3 in J.F. Bentley's Son subdivision, instead of 11 lots in 2 different subdivisions. And the zoning's already been taken care of. I didn't mess with that, but I believe the zoning's already been taken care of.
And if you look at the plat, I think he refers to it on, in his notes, that, I guess that would be the south, so many feet of lot 3 is residential, is that
Yes.
correct? It stays,
Yes.
remember we talked about all that way back when, so it's set out in here and actually designated, but the zoning has nothing to do with the plat, but it is indicated on here, and it is as has been discussed in the past.
That's just informational right now, right?
Yep.
Okay, just informational.
Thank you. Yep, thanks for your time. Can I respectfully request a waiver of second reading at the next meeting? So
Sure.
maybe this can get wrapped up on May 1st, I believe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Council have to vote on it.
Yep,
Yeah, we can do it on May 1.
okay. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Carl.
Second advisory report, Carlinville Planning and Zoning Commission on April 5th approved recommending that a plaque honoring Jim Fenton's years of service to the city of Carlinville on the library board and the Planning and Zoning Commission be placed on either a table or bench on the city square.
Okay, any comments on this? Can I entertain a motion to approve this? Motion has been made by Toon, second by Alderman Coonrod, that we go ahead and approve the Carlinville, the Planning and Zoning Commission to put Jim Fenton's years of service to the city of Carlinville on a plaque or either on a table or a bench on City Square. Clerk will call the roll on this.
Toon. Oswald. Hager. Philbrook.
Aye.
Sarar. Teresa.
Aye.
Coonrod. Downey.
Yes.
Motion is carried 8-0. Customer deposits for water.
Just skip one here, I think.
Did I skip one? Oh, I did. Contractor procurement, Lake One. It's still you.
The reason this is on here is we discussed it at Public Works meeting last Tuesday. in an effort to try to expedite the intake rehab. Last Tuesday, when I brought it forth about contractor procurement versus putting out all the bid documents and going to more expense and lengthy time, at that time, the engineer had 2 contractors. As of Friday, he's presented me with 6. I would like to ask the council to skip the bid process, and there's 6 contractors that he has talked to between himself and other engineers local, that this is a specialty job with divers, have to do underwater work, that without ending up having to wait for bids from California and all over the country, to go to contractor procurement for this to try to speed it up, expedite it, and not go through the extra expense on the bid process and putting all the documents together.
Where are they from? Where's the 6 from? All over the states?
More centralized where they could be here than somebody.
And we're looking at one that can be here the quickest that we can get somebody here, right?
Yes.
Okay. Joe?
And I believe this will require 2/3 of the body.
Do we have a price yet, or where are we at?
Well, I don't know what the original guess or estimate that was presented was.
But we don't have will we get a definite amount before the council votes on it?
Oh, yes. This is only to be able to let him go to these 6 and get prices to do this without putting together a binder of a bid document and going through more expense. That's what
Which
it
would
is.
also take up a lot of time too for us.
And you'll actually, regardless of whether you do it or not, you'll actually need your 2/3 vote the night that you vote on awarding that contract, so.
Yeah. Tim, you have a question?
I'd like to make a motion to
Okay.
Go ahead with it, and you'll still need to vote when the time comes.
Okay, motion has been made by Alderman Hydrants, second by Alderman Doriso, that we go ahead and allow, Public Works Director to work with the engineer to procure a, contractor's procurement, without going through, the bid process. Is there any other question on this? If not, clerk, call the roll.
Kumar,
Yes.
Sarrar,
Yes.
Oswald, Haggard, Downey,
Yes.
Teresa,
Aye.
Gilbert,
Yeah.
Tick.
Okay, motion is carried 8-0. Tim? You've got the customer deposits for water?
How did I get stuck with this one?
Because he already
There.
what to do.
I was there. Oh, I was there. Sorry. It was brought up at the Public Works meeting. We've had some difficulties with balances left open, and the $150 that's charged now as a deposit isn't quite catching it. I believe it was voted on in the past or approved to move that to $200 for deposit last Tuesday. And now it's being moved forward to the council.
To make sure you let them know it's for rental, correct?
For rental property only, rental properties only, $200.
And businesses. Are you not gonna change businesses too? Business,
And just rentals was all I
Rental.
voted.
The only thing we
really?
discussed last Tuesday was,
And that's all that Karen had mentioned to me when I talked to her on the phone.
Just the current ordinance is contract for deeds and rentals and businesses.
maybe we better drop back 10 and punt, we'll come back to the next one.
Okay, we'll come back on May 1, we'll take a look at it. Yeah, right. All right, we'll go back.
I don't
on
think
that.
it'd be in the best interest to move forward with that if that's the case.
Yep. Next one is Doug,
Yep.
your electric upgrade to the campgrounds.
Before I talk about, Mary, you mentioned earlier that the lake campground was in the black this year, and I do want to highlight to not only the council here, but to the members here in the audience, that we doubled our revenue last year that we anticipated. So, and I thank the lake committee for that, and our lake campground manager. We got lucky last year with a lot of pipeline people that stayed at our campgrounds, so we doubled our revenue, our expected revenue. Now, we're probably not gonna get that lucky this year, but we will, believe, break our revenue projection for this year too. So, moving on, one of the upgrades we would like to do out of the campgrounds is to upgrade the electrical. It's been many, many years since that has been upgraded. With the new larger RVs and campers that come to our campground that are 50 amps, we don't have the capacity to power the need that we have out there. So the Lake Committee has approved $15,000 to start in the new budget year the upgrades out there in the lower end of our daily or weekend campground area. And we were hoping to have that done before Memorial Day. So this will be in the new budget year, just so everybody remembers. But we like to get the approval so that we can get things in the motion and in work. So I'd like to make a motion to go ahead and approve the $15,000 for the electrical upgrade.
Is it 15,000?
15.
15?
15. 15.
Okay, motion has been made by Alderman Downey. Second by Alderman Sarar, that we go ahead and do the electrical upgrade to the campground. Yes.
Does this have anything to do with the Ameren?
That's part of it.
5,000?
Yep, that's part
So
of it.
but this has already been done, the 5,000?
No, it's part of the 15.
Oh, you want us to do the whole 15, that's
Yeah,
fine.
the whole thing.
I just want to make sure I understood.
Okay. So motion has been made by Alderman
Made the
Downey,
motion.
second by Alderman Sarar, that we go ahead and do the electrical upgrade to the campground. The price is $15,000. Any question on this? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Oswald? Kuhnrod?
Yes.
Teresa?
Aye.
Downey?
Yes.
Hager? Yes. Toon? Philbrook?
Yes.
Sarar?
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried 8-0.
Motion
Mr. Downey,
adjourned.
you're up.
Motion adjourned.
Motion has been made by Alderman Downey, second by Alderman Hager, that we adjourn. All in favor say aye, those opposed say no, and we are now adjourned.
It was, well, I've been well, how about you? Good. To do stuff.
We were supposed to, but they didn't come forward. They never did sign there. So we didn't have it.
I didn't have a call me today.
Yeah.